How's it going, guys? Welcome to Thought Decoder's YouTube channel. Be sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell so you can receive notifications. What we do here at Thought Decoder, we try to make thinking better. So we want you to think better, basically. In order to do that, today we're going to talk about 2 ways to think critically. Let's get into it. The first approach to thinking critically is to carefully examine your beliefs, weigh evidence, and clearly state your reasoning and reflect on what your assumptions are. So let's break that down. Carefully means you seek truth. You don't do it sloppily, you don't rush through it, you take your time and you reflect on what it is that you believe, what it is that other people believe, evidence for those beliefs, and you look at their reasoning, and then you think about what are your assumptions, what are their assumptions, what are they assuming that is true that maybe they haven't even carefully thought about. This is in contrast with something called rhetoric. Rhetoric is basically the art of persuasion, and you can persuade somebody to do something by an appeal to their interest, like saying, hey, don't you want this candy? You want something sweet, and you hold up some chocolate in front of them. Or you could appeal to them as an expert to psychologically imply that they should be listening to you. If I told you, I'm a doctor, I'm a medical doctor, so since you're sneezing, you may need to grab this medicine, and I'll write you a prescription, or listen to me about medicine because I'm a medical doctor. So I'm appealing to you as psychologically implying that you should be my student, right? And I should be your teacher. So those are typical ways that we persuade. We also use consensus to persuade. That's a part of rhetoric, to say, no one's doing that, no one's wearing that, no one thinks that way. That's rhetoric, but it's not necessarily logical, because it doesn't really lead to truth. Just because everyone thinks something or does something doesn't make it true. So the point is that rhetoric and the first approach to critical thinking have different goals. Critical thinking, as we just described it, is aimed at knowledge, whereas rhetoric is aimed at persuasion. You can persuade someone to think something that's true or something that's false, and you can persuade someone to do something that's good or to do something that's bad. So those two things are different. Thinking critically is not necessarily then about persuading people, but it's about gaining knowledge, whether for yourself or helping others to see that they lack knowledge. The second approach to critical thinking is achievement, right? We think of achievement, and I'm putting this in a positive way because it's really the problem-solving method. We think about a problem, we look at a problem that bothers us. And why are problems problems? Problems are problems because they prevent us from reaching some goal. So really it's about achievement. So critical thinking in this approach has to do with you focusing and clearly stating what your goal is, and deducing from that goal some steps, right? Coming up with a plan on some steps that you can take to actually reach that goal. And once you're able to reach that goal, you reflect on any problems or challenges which may be preventing you from reaching that goal. And those are the basic ways to think critically. The first way is based off of knowledge, and the second way is based off of achievement. Critical thinking is not to be confused with rhetoric or persuading people to do things. That's not necessarily critically thinking. However, you can think of rhetoric in terms of critical thinking if you think about the second approach to critical thinking, and that's thinking of critical thinking as a achievement approach. It's an approach, the goal being achievement. So you know what you want to achieve, and you think of which means there is to persuading that person. So rhetoric falls underneath the second area of critical thinking, and that would be achievement, because rhetoric allows you to achieve your goal. You may want to convince somebody to marry you. You may want to convince someone to buy a product, to buy a car, to follow you on Instagram, to subscribe to your YouTube channel, to do many kind of things. That's 2 ways we brought to you on how to critically think. Again, that's 2 ways we just brought to you, 2 approaches we just completed on critical thinking. Thank you.